Okay, welcome. We're going to try in a kind of quick flow format to make our way towards crow pose. So crow pose may be something that you enjoy or you're kind of tentative about. Even if you've never done it before, there'll be a lot of stages guiding you towards it. So start in mountain pose and separate your feet wide enough that you feel steady. Anchor yourself over the arches of your feet, and then close your eyes and shrug your shoulders back and down. Let's find a deep and steady rhythm of breath that moves in and out through your nose. And to build a little bit more heat and friction, tone the back of your throat to create ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath can help to strengthen a sense of resolve and confidence, but it also keeps us tied tightly to the present moment so we don't get ahead of ourselves. Now, the next time you breathe in, float your arms up, stretch out. When you exhale, bend your knees, sit down, chair pose. Stay low in chair as you breathe in. As you exhale, standing forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale and bow in. Then bend your knees. Inhale, come to chair pose. Exhale, mountain pose. Again, inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale in chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow in. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, mountain pose. Okay, this one we're going to move further. As you inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, hug your inner thighs towards each other. Exhale, lift your heels. Keep hugging your inner thighs in towards each other, and then turn your knees out and your heels in. So it's like a little lifted heel plie. Let's breathe in this way. As you exhale, fold from your hips, bring your fingertips down. Okay, now still with most of your weight into your heels, lift one of your elbows up to your right inner knee, left elbow up to your left inner knee, hug your knees in towards each other, and then lift up through your pelvic floor and scoop your lower belly up towards your spine. Let's take one more slow breath in like this. And then as you exhale, fingertips down, heels down. Release when you breathe into a halfway lift. Give yourself some space. Then when you exhale, step your left foot back. Take a long stride. Your hands can be on blocks or the ground. As you inhale, bring your hips a little lower, roll your shoulders back. When you exhale, lift your hips up and back. Inhale deep into a runner's lunge. And exhale, float your hips. One more time, and inhale. And an exhale. Okay, so again, your hands can be on blocks or the ground if it's a little intense to hold this. Spin your left heel flat, and then try to roll your right hip back. Now you're getting a little bit more into your right inner thigh because your hips are no longer turned towards the front of your mat, they're turned towards the left. You can lift your chest higher if you need, or if there's space, dive in towards your right inner thigh. Now as you breathe in, lift your chest up higher. As you exhale, bend your right knee. Now take your right elbow onto your right thigh, your left hand onto your left hip, and turn your torso towards the left. Try to still hug your right hip back just as you did with your legs straight, and then extend your left fingertips away from your left heel. So you create a long line through your torso, leg, and arm. Roll your right shoulder back. Your gaze can be sideways or turned up and underneath your left upper arm. Steady breathing. Let's take a couple more. After you've breathed out, Look down, bring your hands down around your right foot and step back, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back behind you. Okay, spread your fingers apart from each other. Now as you inhale, round your back, try to look up towards your belly button, and then bring your shoulder blades forward, forward, forward until you stretch out into plank pose. Then roll your shoulders back, bend your knees so they hover on your mat. Push forward through your hands, move your hips back, 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 like you're crouching into down dog. And then stretch out your legs, look up towards your belly button, round your spine, shoulder blades forward, 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 plank pose. Bend your knees so they hover, push your hands forward and draw your hips back. Now with your breath, inhale, round forward to plank pose. Exhale, bend your knees, push back. Again, inhale, rounding to plank. And exhale, press back. Now set your knees onto the mat, walk your hands back towards your knees, then dive the crown of your head down in front of your knees and reach your hands back to your heels, rabbit's pose. Keep your arms straight and then lift your hips up and let your shoulder blades spread away from your spine. So you're bringing a little stretch into your upper back. Now let's make this a little bit more active, so try to lift your lower belly up towards your spine. Lift your pelvic floor up towards your lower belly. Okay. And then settle your hips back down. Bring your hands forward. So we're coming forward into a tabletop shape. With your toes curled under, roll your shoulders back, hover your knees about an inch off the mat. Then draw your inner thighs in towards each other again, but this time lengthen the center of your chest forward. So in rabbit's pose, we were curled in, but here we're looking to create space. Really strong with your hands. Okay. Let's take one more slow breath in this way. And then as you exhale, down dog, lift your hips up. You'll probably need to space out downward facing dog a little bit. Walk your hands forward or your feet back. Okay. Now with an inhale, lift your right leg up, three-legged dog. And as you exhale, step your right foot forward to the outside of your right wrist, so it's coming a little wider. Your left knee can be lifted or down on the ground. Bend through your right knee, fold at your right hip, lizard pose. See if you can bring your upper body a little bit lower. So lower could be onto blocks, lower could be onto the mat. And here we're bringing a bit of opening, a bit of stretch into your right inner thigh. So if you want to add more fire, more heat, you do so by lifting your left knee up. I'm going to add one other kind of fun option, depends what you think is fun, but this is keep your left arm down, raise your right hand. Reach your right hand towards the back of your mat, so your right upper arm bone is near your right inner thigh. And then lift your elbow up so you make contact with your arm and your right inner thigh. Lean over into your right leg. Your left hand may get light. If it does, reach around and back and bend your right elbow. See if your hands can meet. Lizard pose with a bind. So if your hands are up, go ahead and release them down. Walk your right foot in so you can get steady on it, and then step your left foot forward, a halfway lift, thank goodness. And a forward fold. Okay, rise up to stand, take your time to stretch. And then bring your arms down by your sides. A slow inhale in mountain pose. A long exhale. Okay, as you inhale, lift your chest and arms. As you exhale, bend your knees to sit in chair pose. Okay. Inhale, hug your inner thighs towards each other. Exhale, slowly lift your heels. Now keep breathing. Let's change the shape. Move your knees out, your heels in. Keep your inner thighs hugging in, your heels hugging in. Fold at your hips. As you come down, bring your elbows directly to your inner knees this time. And then try to squeeze your knees in towards your elbows so your inner thighs are at work. Hands to heart center, roll your shoulders back. Try to bring your chest forward so your upper back gets smoother. Still breathing. Next exhale, bring your fingertips down, spin your heels back, standing forward fold. Okay, inhale to a halfway lift. As you exhale, step your right foot back. Take a nice long stride. Your hands can be on blocks or the ground. Inhale deep into a runner's lunge. Bring your hips down, chest forward. And then exhale, float your hips up and back. Inhale deep into the lunge again. And exhale into the back of your left leg. One more. Inhaling. And exhale. Okay, hold your hips back so your leg's pretty straight. Again, you can use blocks if you wish. Spin your right heel flat to the ground so your right hip rolls back, but continue to draw your left outer hip back. So your inner thighs still hug in towards each other. Lift your chest as much as you need to, and don't worry if your left leg's not completely straight, but if there's space to lean down into your left leg, you can do so. Moving into a combined stretch of your left hamstrings and left inner thigh. Follow my words, not what Chris is doing. That's okay, I don't feel bad, I feel good. Okay, so now inhale to lift your chest. Exhale, bend your knee, bring your knee over your heel. Take your left elbow to your left thigh, your right hand to your right hip. Turn sideways, extended side angle. Try to still tuck your left hip in, tuck it back, and then extend your right fingertips away from your right heel. When you're standing in mountain pose and you take a full stretch, it's kind of like this alignment. We're trying to reach out in length. Here, if you're comfortable, turn your gaze up and underneath your right arm. And try to squeeze your feet in towards each other. Be nice and steady. After the next breath, take your time to look down, bring your hands around your left foot, and let's move back. Downward facing dog. Okay, remember those rolling down dogs we did to plank? Inhale, round your spine, come forward nice and slow. Bend your knees so they hover, push back into a crouch at the back of your mat, and then inhale, roll up and over. Exhale, bend your knees, push back. One more time, and inhale. And an exhale. Okay, come forward enough that your knees can rest on the mat. Keep your toes tucked under, bring your hips back. The crown of your head comes low, down in front of your knees, and then reach your hands back to your heels. Lift your hips up, let your shoulder blades move away from your spine, and actively push down through your head so your neck is steady. Lift your lower belly up towards your spine, lift your pelvic floor up towards your lower belly. One more breath in. As you exhale, bring your hips back, lift your chest, come to all fours. Almost all fours. We'll keep our hands and feet down, hover your knees. Now we've just been rounding our spine. Let's try to do the opposite. With strong hands, roll your shoulders back, bring your chest forward, don't let your head droop. Still breathing. Feel your next inhale as full as it can be. Then exhale to downward facing dog. Okay, moving from down dog, float your left leg up, three-legged dog. Step your left foot forward to the wide side of your left wrist. Your right knee can stay up or place it down to the mat. Now fold a little deeper into your left knee, left hip, edge your upper body towards the mat. So this can be to come onto blocks or towards the ground. And remember, your right knee can be a regulator. And then we moved into an option, we moved into a bind. So if you'd like to move into that again, lean into your right arm, lift your left arm up, reach your left hand back, so you're snuggling your arm into your inner left leg, and then lean into your left leg enough. We're transferring our center of gravity to the side. Lift your right arm up, take your right arm over the back of your hips. Maybe your hands come in to bind. Make sure you don't hold your breath for the sake of the pose. We're keeping a process moving in the experience. If your hands happen to be lifted, bring them down, walk your left foot in closer so you can get your weight right over your left foot, and then step forward to a halfway lift. And exhale to fold in. Okay, come up enough that you have space. Walk your feet just slightly wider, not as wide as a squat. Just give yourself a bit more room. Lift your heels, spin your heels in, bend your knees. Now this time, instead of taking your elbows to your inner knees, let's bring our fingertips underneath our shoulders. Just getting a little bit lower to the ground. Scoop your lower belly up, roll your shoulders back. And without doing anything like an arm balance, try to hug your inner thighs in towards each other. So there's some definite gathering of your strength, and that'll save some of the work of your arms. Now bring your palms down, just moving further if you wish. Take your knees now to your upper arm bones, wide enough that you can hug your knees in towards each other, and the strength of your legs hugs your upper arms into each other. Roll your shoulders back, keep your neck long, lifted lower belly, and then if you're comfortable, bend your elbows. This will transfer your center of gravity forward. If your toes are getting light, maybe you choose to lift one foot up, maybe both feet come up, and your elbows can stay quite bent, or if this is going okay, straighten out your arms more. Draw your chest forward, shoulders back. Hug your heels up towards your sitting bones. We're almost there. And feet down, bum down. With your legs out ahead of you, let's just release our wrists first. Roll, or with your hands clasped, roll your knuckles around. And when our hands get stronger, the pressure in your wrist decreases too, so this is something that gets better over time. Okay, and then come onto your back. So there's been a lot of curling in through the class as a whole, a lot of flexing into your hips. Let's just do one round of bridge pose to open up. Bring your heels towards your sitting bones, lay the soles of your feet flat, press down through the backs of your arms, down through your feet, and lift your hips up. Just allow the front of your body to be spacious. And there may be room to roll your shoulder blades even a little bit closer. Clasp your hands if that feels right. Hug your inner thighs in towards each other and lift up through your pubic bone, up through the center of your chest. And let yourself settle back down to your mat. Okay. Let's rest, Shavasana. Bring your heels out, your arms out. Slow clearing breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Moving your body. Bring the soles of your feet quietly to the ground. And then roll over onto your right side into fetal pose. Make your way up slowly and come up to a comfortable seat. And bring your palms together. So thank you for your practice. Thank you for the play. Namaste.